Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kieran and it has been a little while, hasn't it? It's been a long time since my last proper video where I used my voice. I talked to you guys about a Fallout thing, and I think the last time I even made a video like this was back in Halloween, where I made the Halloween mod list, which I absolutely loved making that video, but it was my last classic proper video, and now I'm back. Hopefully. For the now at least. Truth is, my life has been absolute chaos, absolute madness for the last 5 or so months, and I just haven't really had the motivation to jump on and just make a classic YouTube video. But nevertheless, I am here, and today I decided, hey, I want to make a Fallout mod video, but what mod should we do on? There's this mod, there's this mod, there's this mod, and then I decided, hey, let's just make a video on all of the mods coming out. So strap in, because we're going to be talking about all of the massive upcoming mods coming to Fallout. Fallout Hawaii is a massive mod that's been in development since early 2020 and is, you guessed it, set in the wonderful lands of Hawaii, more specifically on the island of Oahu. I have no idea how to pronounce that. It is a total conversion mod for Fallout 4, which will act as basically an entirely new game, so you won't be able to play as your current Fallout 4 character. Hawaii takes place around 2277, so around the events of Fallout 3, and will mostly be disconnected from the other Fallout games in terms of story. The story is focused on a three-way power struggle for dominance over Hawaii between natives, American, and foreign factions. The player character is at the centre of the struggle, and much like in New Vegas, will be able to decide the fate of the Hawaii Wasteland and who emerges the victor of this conflict. Judging from the FAQ, the developers seem really passionate about doing the Hawaiian culture justice and really exploring the history of the lands and its historic themes. Honestly, see, just looking at the concept art alone, this is what sold me on the entire concept of a Fallout Hawaii, because before I never really thought about it, I never even considered it. But after looking at the concept art back in like early 2020, I was like, you know what? I am making a video on this mod. I don't know when, but it will happen. I made a thumbnail right there and then. Unfortunately, there's still no gameplay, but like, just from the concept art alone, just from the concept alone, and also from my inside information alone, the mod seems like it's coming cool. It's very exciting, it's very different, and I'm just really excited. Fallout Nuevo Mexico, also known as New Mexico, is a DLC-sized mod for New Vegas set in the New Mexico Wasteland. Like Hawaii and many other mods in this list, you'll be required to create an entirely new character for the mod. New Mexico is set in the year 2285, just after the events of Fallout New Vegas, where Caesar's Legion, who up to now had full control over New Mexico, is starting to lose its grasp due to the rise of various new factions, including one called Vault-Tec, and that is not Vault-Tec with a C, that's Vault-Tec with a CH, who, judging from the trailer, are looking pretty suave, looking pretty cool, are bringing this fun, energetic vibe to the wasteland. The developers of New Mexico are very much advertising this mod as like a heavy RPG focused experience, meaning there's going to be a lot of things similar to the classic Fallout 1 and Fallout 2. Which is really cool and funny, really, because when I was watching the trailer originally, I was like getting these Fallout 2 vibes just from like the visuals alone. I was like, this is giving me classic Fallout vibes, which is something I haven't really captured in a way for a wee while there, because everything is very modern, everything is very, you know, Fallout 76-y, so it's kind of nice to get the Fallout 2 vibes again. The Vault-Tec faction alone look really cool and interesting, and I'm just glad they're doing something like that, rather than bring back the Enclave, or worse, the Brotherhood of Steel. Ooh, disgusting. Fallout Vault 13 is a remake mod of the original Fallout for Fallout 4. Unlike other mods in this list, Vault 13 will not be a gigantic open world. Instead, the mod will be broken down into 5 separate world spaces, with each new world space containing not only original locations from Fallout 1, but brand new locations as well. Vault 13 aims to be a full remake of Fallout 1, meaning it's not going to be like a one-to-one copy of the original game. Like I said moments ago, the mod aims to modernise Fallout 1 by adding new locations, radio stations, quests, characters and everything. Each character in the mod will also be fully voice acted as well, so don't worry about that. Don't be like, oh, in the original game they didn't have voice actor, or they didn't have much voice acting, but in this it's modernised, so yeah, it's going to have voice acting. I made a video on this mod a while ago, and most others in this list actually, so if you want to dive further into these mods and just get like a more in-depth explanation, I'll leave a link to all these videos down in the description below. Fallout London is a total conversion mod for Fallout 4. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of Fallout 4 ones in this list because everyone's developing for that. And then sometimes there's a little oddball for New Vegas. But yeah, London is set somewhere that isn't actually in the United States of America, which will and has pissed off a bunch of the US Fallout players, indeed. Instead, we arrive in the London Wasteland, somewhere completely different, somewhere completely new to the Fallout universe, where we are introduced to new factions, locations, accents, and soft drinks that are not Nuka-Cola. That's right, you're going to get an off-brand Iron Brew. Fallout London has been in development for years now, meaning there's a lot of information out there and content to dive into. Since the mod isn't set in the US, the typical ingredients you would normally find in Fallout won't be here in London. Ingredients like power armor, super mutants, death claws, and pretty much everything you would find primarily in the States, including the likes of vaults since they were, a US initiative. The map is the size of base Fallout 4 and will essentially be a more compressed version of the London city, but you can expect the typical landmarks of London as well, so Big Ben, Westminster, and then also like surrounding areas as well that's all compressed. Fallout Miami is a DLC-sized mod for Fallout 4 which actually allows players to continue playing as their sole survivor character, which is quite strange among the other mods as well, because all the other mods are just completely new game stuff, but this one is actually continuing the story of the sole survivor. The mod will take them all the way to Miami Beach, where you're thrown into a struggle between order and freedom. Miami will introduce various cool new factions and also bring back some old ones too, like the Enclave, which you can actually join the Enclave in this mod and they'll have such an in-depth storyline and they'll be expanded upon. It's going to be really fun. The map size as well is a bit different than the other mods. This one aims to be much smaller, much more DLC sized map. Similar to Far Harbor. So expect the main and side quests being of a similar size as well. So don't go into Fallout Miami being like, oh, this is going to be a brand new Fallout game, going to be thousands of hours. No, expect it to be roughly the same size and length of Far Harbor. Followingcadia, like London, is a total conversion mod for Fallout 4 set in the Seattle region. With a brand new story, gigantic map, and new weapons and gear, Cascadia aims to bring a lot of content to the table. One point that may excite fans of Fallout New Vegas is that Cascadia unfortunately brings back the NCR. The NCR, alongside new factions like the Cascadia Republic and the Red Lease, are stuck in this three-way conflict, similar to Hawaii. Cascadia aims to be a massive mod, apparently being twice the size of base Fallout 4 just in terms of the sheer size of the map. One of my favourite conceptualised locations in this mod as well is called Sinkhole, which is this town built alongside the edges of a massive sinkhole, and I'll fire the concepts on the screen now and they just look so cool. I just can't wait for them to share more footage and images of this mod, because the developers are fairly quiet on the development of this mod, which, take that as you will. Some people will be like, oh, this mod is dead. Some people will be like, oh no, this mod is really active. But hopefully, sooner or later, Cascadia shows itself once again and shows quite cool content. Now, Fallout Appalachia is a bit different than the other mods in this list because it actually aims to rebuild the world of Fallout 76. Not only just rebuild it, but also bring it 200 years into the future during the events of Fallout 4. The mod will feature NPCs, quests and factions, but the main draw is exploring a more apocalyptic Appalachia than in 76, as the land is more destroyed, more radiated, less green, less trees, than the last time we saw it. As the wasteland has changed over the years, previous locations are now home to various different factions and characters. The Children of Am are now in Appalachia and now hold White Springs. The Rust Devils from Fallout 4 will now inhabit Watoga, and locations like Vault 79 will now be accessible for players. We might also see some scattered remains of camps from the inhabitants of Vault 76, which would be really cool if we could actually submit our own camp designs from Fallout 76 as well, because that would just be, I don't know, just be fun. It'll just add more flavour to this mod. So the Capital Wasteland, again, there's a lot of remake mods going around in it, but this one in particular is really, I'm really hyped for it because Fallout 3 is definitely up there as one of my favourite games of all time, so seeing it being updated, seeing it being remade into the Fallout 4 engine is just, so good. The mod team plan on adding pretty much everything that was featured in the original game, with possible DLC additions coming later on. Although the team at Capital Wasteland, or at least a few of the developers, are also developing a standalone remake of the Point Lookout DLC, which again is one of my favourite DLC locations just because of the tone of it all. It's just so good. What's also cool, and other mod projects in this list have done this as well, is that Capital Wasteland, the team behind it anyway, have been releasing a ton of assets as standalone releases. Assets like the famous school mask, and even retexturing super mutants to their Fallout 3 look. What I love about the idea of these remake mods is adding other mods on top of them, because as a kid, right, I imagined, and I think I told this story before in a previous video, where in the Capital Wasteland, inside Washington DC, I always wanted to sort of make my own makeshift town, have NPCs as like settlers and shops and stuff like that, and so now it's kind of possible just with the sheer amount of mods out there for Fallout 4 that allow this sort of shit. So I'm really excited. Fallout 4 New Vegas, we're going to rattle through this one because Fallout 4 New Vegas is pretty much the same deal as the Capital Wasteland. It's doing standalone releases and it's fully remaking Fallout New Vegas in the Fallout 4 engine, which means bringing the original assets to even the systems and mechanics of New Vegas and just making them in Fallout 4. Honestly, I'm just really excited to see New Vegas just with the graphical style of Fallout 4. It's gonna look so good. It's gonna be really cool. And another one to the list, another remake mod, this time remaking Fallout 2. Project Arroyo is slightly different as it wants to remake Fallout 2 in its own vision, similar to Vault 13, where it's not really going to be a one-to-one remaster. This mod aims to be a gigantic open world map, meaning the developers are adding brand new locations to fill the void in between the main Fallout 2 locations, as the original game was not open world like the modern titles. Arroyo intends to also include cut content from the original game, as well as add radio stations to further modernise Fallout 2. This remake mod is definitely one to look out for, especially for those that haven't played the original Fallout 2 because it seems a bit outdated to them. Empire Waste is a DLC size mod similar to Miami, where you can continue your adventures as the sole survivor, but instead of Miami, we're going to New York City, exploring Manhattan and parts of Queens and Brooklyn. This mod is going to be massive. It's already massive. It features new towns, new characters, new factions, new quest lines, and you can just explore New York. Honestly, the mod is available to download right now on Nexus, so you can download it, you can watch the progress being made, you can watch the development as it's happening, and it's just really cool just to be part of the city. I actually made a trailer of it ages ago because I was such a big fan of the location. But if you're going to download it, bear in mind this mod is still in active development. Nothing is finished, so take that as you may. The final mod in this list is actually Coos Bay, which brings players to Oregon, which is a region I'm quite unfamiliar with compared to the likes of Miami and London. The story of Coos Bay is actually quite cool because it's actually from a modder who really wanted to build their own hometown in the world of Fallout. So it's a really personal project for the developer, which is really nice to hear about, and it makes me that more curious in the mod. The history of the Fallout version of Coos Bay was that only one bomb was sent to demolish the area, but it was ultimately shot down before any impact. So Coos Bay has been relatively untouched by any major damage anyway. Outside of this, there aren't really too many story details to chat about. Like Empire Waste, you can actually download the Coos Bay mod right now to get a glimpse of how the world is being developed, which so far, again, it looks pretty cool. I can't wait to dive into it further in another video, because again, like Hawaii, Coos Bay, and a few other mods as well on this list I still need to make videos on, and I will make videos on them, so. But yeah guys, that is me for today. I hope you all enjoyed, and I promise I will make more in-depth videos on some of these mods from this list that I haven't covered yet. I'm just glad to be back, and honestly, I hope to make some more cool Fallout videos in the future, and maybe make another community ideas for Fallout 5 video, because I still get comments to this day about those videos, so yeah, I should probably do that. But yeah guys, I hope you all enjoyed, and I shall see you all later. Bye bye.